Thank you, Sam, for this opportunity, and thank you for the lovely introduction that you gave me. In today's presentation, my topic would be path to creativity. So on this topic, I'm going to talk to you a few things that I have discovered, uh, and especially on the path to creativity. If you look at creativity is endless. So what I thought was, in this journey, the, 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 the creativity that we can do is endless. So therefore, I thought I should share some of the creativity things which I have done so that you can give your thoughts. My main idea in this is not to show my pictures and how beautiful it is or how nice it is. My main idea here is to give you the technique, how I did it, so that you can use it and then you can do your own creativity better than what I have done and share with all of us. So without much talking, let's start off um, with the threefold capabilities. Now, the threefold capabilities I take as the in-camera for creativity, which means whatever the camera can give us is in this camera for creativity. Now, if you look at every camera manufacturer has given his own ways of creativity within the camera. So I have taken maximum use of this. And also we must remember I have not done any Photoshop or any software to these pictures which I have done under the in-camera for creativity. It is purely what is available in the camera. Then secondly, setting up for creativity. Now this is very basic, everyone knows it. It's simple. You need the camera, you need the tripod, and you need a good lens. So this is very basic. Then the third thing is software for creativity. Now, after we took a picture in camera under the in-camera creativity to give it a final touch, like to crop a little, to make a contrast increase or a decrease, or simple things. So for that, I used the software for creativity. So firstly, I will start off in camera creativity, and I'll show you a few of the pictures and the techniques how I have done this creativity. So in camera creativity, first I will discuss with you about zoom burst. Zoom, what is zoom burst? The most important camera setting for a zoom burst technique is the shutter speed. The threefold capabilities.
Correct.
Yes.
All right, okay, now it's working then. So as I said, I'll go from start in the camera for creativity. Okay, in camera for creativity. Now you see this screen, right? Zoom boost.
Yes.
Okay. The most important camera setting for a zoom boost technique is the shutter speed. The shutter speed needs to remain open while the lens is zooming. Usually between 1 to 4 seconds is a good shutter speed for a zoom burst. Now here how you do it, you have to have your camera on a tripod. You can either zoom out or you can zoom in. But before you do that, you have to have your subject. So how I do is I keep my subject and I focus out, right? I focus on the subject and I zoom out. And while the shutter is open, I zoom back. So this effect, it blows out. This is how you get the zoom burst feeling. So it's a shutter priority mode with a shutter with a 1 to 4 second shutter speed. So when you look at my first picture, I think you will know what I'm trying to say. So this is my first picture. Now you see 3 flower pots, at a row. Now on the red one, I have focused and I have done a zoom burst on the first red one. My aperture is f4. I have given my apertures on the corner here. Here in the corner, I have given my EXIP, so you can easily find out f4.4. I have given 2 seconds. ISO is 640 and the zoom is 105 millimeter. So first I place my camera on the tripod and I zoom out using the zoom ring and I focus on this red flower pot. And then once the shutter is open, I zoom back. So this is how I get the zoom burst. Now, because I focused initially at the pot, that is why the other 2 pots didn't go burst out. So this is how I did the first zoom burst. And this is the first, this is my first attempt and I got this nice. So let me go to my next picture. Now this is in the Vilpattu camp, one night. And this is the restaurant area which we have meals. So now my subject was here. at this point, and I focused on this. And after focusing, when I did the zoom burst, this is how it came. So there again, it is, this is a 31 millimeter. It's very close. I did this 4.5 with 1 second and ISO 640. Now this is a zoom. Now the previous picture, this one was a zoom in. That is, it is coming out from the subject. Now this one is a zoom out. That is going out from the subject. So this is why I see the person here is unclear. My subject is also clear, but except for the lights that got burst out. So this you can try because it's nice to see, because you don't get the whole area being burst out. So this is my second picture I like to share with you. And there again, here I have to use the tripod as usual and test of it. Now this one, this is a lantern that is lit in the jungles to scare the animals away. But this didn't have this much of a bigger light. It had a tiny little light at the end, and this lantern hung, and all night this is lit. So my idea here is to tell you that zoom burst can be done in the nights as well, in the darkness. So here I had to have my f4.5 with a 2-second shutter, 640 aperture, and 105 millimeter focus. And then I did the zoom burst. So with the burst, you see how the flame came out. It just blew out from the nozzle here. It just blew out. So it came so nice, you know. And the idea here is you can do this zoom burst anywhere at any time. So this, I just want to share with you that you know, even colors don't matter. It's how you focus. So in this, as I said earlier, the focusing is very important. Where you focus. If you focus it elsewhere onto the ring or something, it will not come. But I focused on this bucket here, and then it burst out, and the flame also came with it. So these are the 3 pictures I have discussed with you about zoom burst, and I'm sure you all know about it more very well so far now. So let me go into my next creative. So I'm going to now explain to you about multi-exposure. What is multi-exposure? Set your camera to multi-exposure mode. Shoot your first layer or select one from your camera's memory card. Then shoot your second layer and superimpose. You can go up to 9 layers if your camera permits. Now let me explain this to you. You have to get your camera into multi-exposure mode. Then thereafter you can take your first picture. Or you can also take a picture which is already in your memory card. So how I did this was I picked up a picture from the memory card and I focused. And then when I'm taking the second layer, I go on live mode. So when I go on live mode, I can compose, you know, where I want the original picture to be. And then I take the second picture. So when you superimpose both together, you get a nice creative picture. But now superimposing, you can go up to 9. Now I'm using a Canon 90D. I can have 9 layers in my camera. So in this, I'm going to show you a few of this, what I have done on taking on different layers on multi-exposure. Now this picture, this happens to be my son. Now this is, I will tell you how I took this. Now I have to go down and have his body, his head area and the body to come on the blank sky area. There should be no obstructions here, right? So I first took the picture with him on this. You know, I went down on the ground and took it upwards so that his face comes on, his figure is seen only on the sky, like, you know. So there is no trees or plants or anything. The idea is to get a pure white background around his body. That is the first layer. Then I went to the second layer and I took some leaves on a tree, on a bush, like sort of thing. So when I superimpose both of them, now this is something to do with megapixels, if I am not wrong. You know, white absorbs the black. So when I
George can't.
Sorry. Hello.
Couldn't hear you earlier.
Sorry, Sam.
Now we can hear you. We lost you.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so when I put this on top, the white part, the white portion absorbs the darkness. So this way now, if you look at these leaves went all over. So the white portion absorbs it, and where the dark portion remains, it's as original, you know. So this is how it is. So the dark doesn't absorb the dark, but the white absorbs the white. And then automatically you get this picture coming. I hope it's very clear to you all. So you can try this out. This is f4 with 50 seconds. I took this picture at 100 ISO and 85 millimeter. This you need not do on any tripod, but you can handle and do this. Then the second picture is also the same. Here you get this sort of what you call Covil Gantara, thing. So first picture I took the bells, and second picture I took some bushes, plants, and I superimposed it. But if you really closely look, you can see, I purposely have this picture to show you. If you closely look, you can see some leaves on the sides here. Yeah. So this is what I want to explain to you, that white absorbs the dark, and then you get the picture coming out. So you can do a lot of creative on this. I have seen on videos where on the beach you can do this. So it's very nice. You can try it out. So let me go to my next picture. This is my, I could say my favorite, because this I had a lot of effort to do this. This is a 3-layer picture. And these pictures, these are actually models which I took from my denim magazines. Now the first layer I took this gentleman here, I took his picture. And then using the screen, I took another picture using this lady, on this lady here. And I composed it, she looking this way. Then the third one also I took one, this lady looking this way, onto the right. So therefore once you superimpose, you get all three together. But here one thing we must keep in mind is the background should be of the same color. But if you have a different color, like blue or something, you won't get this thing. So first I take a picture, normal picture, and then the second picture I go live mode and I compose it, keeping the lady on this area here, and I take the second shot, and then the third shot I take it, placing this lady here. So final picture comes with all three together. So the background should always be the same color. If not, this will not come correct. So this was a nice because, and then this picture I took, using the camera from top, I took all the pictures, the 3 pictures from the magazines. Then coming to my next picture here is also the same. This is a denim fabric, and I took this picture of this lady and I superimposed it right in the center, so that it looks as if she is coming out from some curtain-like feeling. Here again, I used f4 with 1/80 of a second and 800 ISO with a 24 millimeter lens. So this is multi-exposure, which I am explaining to you. Now this picture is the interesting one, which I took very recently last week in Girtha Lake. This is the Girtha Lake tank. This moon, this was in the morning, around 6 o'clock in the morning, and this moon was elsewhere. So I brought this moon, I took the first layer, the moon, and then I composed it into this lake area in the center here. But there's a mistake in this. The mistake is you have to be very careful. I will not tell you what the mistake is, but you all can look at it carefully and we'll discuss the mistake at the time of our questions. Because when you have to be careful when you are superimposing, so that the viewer, the person who looks at it, should not find any fault. Then it's not correct. So here I have done that purposely to show you have to be careful when you're superimposing, so that you will not get. But this is, remember, this is not Photoshop. This is all done within the camera. So this also is an interesting one for me, because I never expected this will come like this. And it's all this also on one on top of the other. This is a layer, and the sky and all were the same color, so it didn't much affect very much. So that's about multiple exposure, and let's go to the next one. Panning. This is of course very common to all. We have been doing this all the time. So I'm sure you all know about this very well. Panning is a photographic technique that combines a slow shutter speed with camera motion to create a scene of speed around a moving object. It is a way to keep your subject in focus while blurring your background. So panning is, you have to have your shutter priority, and you just lock your focus on your subject, and then you move your camera with the subject and you get the panning. So let's go to the first picture. Now this one I took in Vietnam. I was on top of a cruise ship, and then this is a Coast Guard boat that was coming at a high speed. And I had my camera in my hand, and I quickly took this picture. So there were burst of pictures I took, and this one came very nice because it's so fast that it's so difficult. You know, I must tell you, I in my camera I use the back button focus. That's very convenient when you're doing panning. You lock your focus and then you just have to shoot, and you never go out of focus when you're having your back button focus on this. Let's see the second picture. Now here is also the same. Now this picture I took at the golf club in Morelia. There was an event and there were 3 events. Now this is interesting, you know, now I had 3 opportunities to take some pictures because there were 3 events only. Now my first attempt was when the bunch was coming. So I tried to take a panning shot when all the riders were coming in a bunch. And I took my picture and it all went a mess. You know, in a bunch it could not do. So I spoiled the first event. So I had another 2 more events left. On the second event, I didn't go, I stayed further away so that the bunch will be removed and at least 1, 2, 3 will come so that I can take a better picture. But still the second attempt also I failed. Then I had 1 more attempt, and the last attempt and I thought was I will go to the finish line. And I stood by the finish line, and this is the winner. So the winner is 1 man. So it's very easy to take a panning shot, and I locked my focus on the horse's face and I got this picture. So the point on this I want to emphasize is if you are taking pictures of a bunch or if you are taking a group of cars or some lot of things coming, it's difficult to pan unless you have an individual point. So the best point was the finish point where, you know, you get 1 guy, the winner, and you can take the panning shot. So this is at the race course in Morelia. This is another very interesting shot. You know, this I took in France, if I remember. I was in the car with my colleague, and it was a left-hand drive car. So my colleague was driving, and we were at the signal lights when this car came and stopped onto our left-hand side. And my colleague said, now this guy is going to go at a massive takeoff. So if you can take a good picture. So now I was seated in the car. I didn't have much time to do a panning, you know, very, very limited space. So what I did was I locked. Now this car was parked, you know, it was stationed. I locked the focus and I waited. And immediately it took off. I started shooting all maximum burst, you know, maybe 30, 40 shots came at once. And then I was happy to see this came out very beautifully because I had locked the focus. So in this I learned if you have a short space even for panning, if you lock your focus, it doesn't go out. You know, on the AI servo mode, it stays locked and the panning picture comes out well. So these also you can try. So here I'm just giving you the technique, but you can try and you get better pictures coming out. So that's about panning. So let me go to the next creative mode, long exposure. Long exposure can be called as time exposure or slow shutter. Photography involves using a long duration of shutter speed to sharply capture the station elements of images while blurring, smearing and obscuring the moving elements. So when you look at the picture, you will know what this is. Now this is the first picture I'm going to show you is the Aturugiriya highway exit. Now there's a flyover bridge, and on top of the bridge I placed my camera tripod and I focused out. I kept it at f16 with 30 seconds. The shutter open for 30 seconds. ISO auto and 24mm because I want to get at a wide angle. If you are doing this, you have to have it on a tripod without any shake so that you get the lines sharp and straight. So this is, you can call it light trails also, some call it, but this is how it is. So this is my first picture on this. Now this is another one which I took. This was in Singapore, if I remember. This where all the vehicles were coming towards me, and when I took the shot from there. This was on f22 with 30 seconds. 30 seconds is always which I use because when I have it 30 seconds fixed on the camera and the shutter priority, I just from aperture, if I'm doing some other pictures, I just quickly turn to shutter priority and I can quickly take this picture because it's already in memory. I use a 218mm because to get a wider angle. This is again, this was in Austria. I was in the evening, I was going walking and then I saw this. Now this I took on a tripod and I focused on this, this is a theater here. And I focused on this theater picture here. And then I took the shot at 30 seconds. And this is how it came. So this, there was a bend here and the vehicles were taking the bend and these lines all turned. And these shaky lines were certain motorcycles that were going, you know, so these shaky lines came. So this is the last picture on this I'm showing you. So I hope you like this. Next creativity is levitation. Now I'm not sure whether you all have tried this, but I did one. I did couple, but the photos I can't show you because the subject didn't want me to put it into this presentation. Levitation photography without Photoshop. Now most of the time levitation I have seen on YouTube and all that done with the use of Photoshop. Now this is without Photoshop. You will basically need to experiment with a shutter priority, with exposure time to the minimum, with a lot of light. The most likely setup would be the fast shutter speed with burst of shots, while the subject jumps up in the air until you freeze all the motion. In addition to jumps, there are many other ways, example, flying, falling, climbing, etc. This is a very interesting thing. I think, Sam, you can put this into our next list also because this is it's so nice. So I'll go to the first picture. Now this picture is, now I'm showing you 3 pictures of internet because I don't have very much of pictures on this, but I have just one. This picture I took at in the Disneyland in France, Indian couple. And I was taking pictures of them and then they did this for me. So this is what you call levitation, where everybody goes up and then you freeze the shot and it comes out like this. So this is the picture which I took. And there are other pictures which I'm not in a position to put it into this. Now I'll explain how this is done without Photoshop. Now this lady here, now under the grass you see pillows kept, you know, a whole heap of pillows and you know cotton stuff. This lady falls in this manner, looking at the mobile phone, and you take the shot. So this is how you see as after you get the picture. But actually she falls onto this, and she gets up later. Now in Photoshop, you have something standing at the bottom here, and where she will lean onto it, and as a layer, and later you remove it off, and then you see this flying like this. So this is without Photoshop, is how it is done. Now here again, the second picture is also the same here. This person ties the bag, the suitcase here with a rope and around his waist, and he jumps up in this fashion, and the picture is taken. So there is no support anywhere around him, but this basically jumping up. So this is the levitation without Photoshop or without any use of software. Here again is the same. He's leaping out of the mountain with the rock here in this fashion, you know, throwing his hands around. And you take the picture. This is very simple, but you can do it. It's nice, you know, it comes out and you can use many creative methods to do this type of thing. So this is about levitation and I don't have much pictures to show you, but this is the idea here. So let's go to the next one. Glass reflection photography. Now these are some of the reflections that which I took through a glass, and it's like comes very nice. You know, photographing through glass lets you make your photos unique. Light reflections radiate unique colors, lights, and shadows that often surpasses what you could create even in the best photo editor. You can capture every object in extraordinary ways. Here, what I'm trying to say is if you do it really well, even a Photoshop or any software, you can get it better than any of those softwares can do. So it's called the glass reflection photography. Let's see the first picture. This was in Czech Republic. I came out of a church and I saw this dog in this house, and then this the owner left the dog inside the house and went out, and he was howling. And while he was howling, he's dirtying the window pane and all that. So I took the first picture here. This is, you get a glass in front here. And then I took the picture. And then what I did was I made it a little creative. I used, I put a little, a layer of water on front, and I got the shadow coming up. Once I did reduce the contrast, automatically the shadow came. So this is a picture through the glass. The same thing I have done a black and white also, which gives you a more clear shadow of the the dog. So this is through the glass, it gives you a lot of impressions. Let's go to the next picture. Now this one. This is the first picture. This is the lady, she was in a restaurant and looking at a computer. And these lines you see are the lines which were reflecting from the roof onto the glass and from the glass across, And using this, I did this. Now I took the lines to show as if it's a light shades that are coming into the picture, and I put a layer of scratch glass layer on top to give it a older look, and then the more the feelings of the lady came out once I did this. After I did this little changes. So this is also a glass reflection which is clearly seen on these sides here. This was in Geneva in Switzerland, where I was in a restaurant, and it was, if I remember, it was -13 that day, and it was blowing snow all over. And this is through the glass. The glass had a lot of snow, and the reflection also was there. And of course, there was no rain, so it was only snowing. And then this is how I saw it originally. But then to make it a creative look through, now remember, this is also through the glass. I was seated inside the restaurant, and then I took this picture. Now this is how I made it. I got the snow out, and I got some water falling onto the glass to make it a little more creative look and a cleaner look than this. So these are again a reflection, through the glass which I have got. So let's go to the next. Time lapse and slow motion photography. I'm sure everybody knows about this. Since this is a in-camera creativity, I'm showing you about time lapse and slow motion. Time lapse photography is a technique whereby the frequency at which film frames are captured, the frame rate, is much more spread out than the frequency used to view the sequence. When played at normal speed, time appears to be moving faster, thus lapsing. So I will show you a small few second video of the time lapse and a slow motion, which will explain itself. This is a sunset at Bentura Beach, which I took. Now that was a time lapse, and now this is a slow motion which I took. This is in the Pasikuda beach. When you do a slow motion, it gives you a nice feeling. It's so nice to see, and how it blows down. And now to do this, I had to have my frame rate at 30 frames per second. I had placed the camera on the tripod and moved it gradually from the left to the right whilst it was recording it. And this was in the morning. It was a sunrise, and it was so nice, to see how it works in the morning. Right. So let's go to the next creativity. Intentional camera movement. I'm sure we are all happy about doing this. We are doing this at the moment. ICM photography is an abstract style of shooting that has no rules. It all comes down to moving your camera either vertically, horizontally, or rotating during a long exposure. So let's see my first pictures on this. This is in Poland, Norway, which I took. So these are the ruins which I got vertical lines, and these some of trees which I got on vertical lines. I used f16 and 30 seconds, 100 ISO and a 25mm on this. So these are vertical lines. Now these are the horizontal. They are again at 30 seconds, 100 ISO and 24mm, which I took on vertical lines. This is circular. This is the Vatadage, one part of it. Now here I want to tell you, I focused on this tree here, the trunk of the tree, and I did the turn, and this is how it came. And here again, I focused on the pillar here, and I did the turn. So this is how I got this. So here, one thing I learned was, if you focus at one point, that doesn't get dirty. I mean, it doesn't turn off. It stays as it is, whereas the background turns. So then we'll go to the next one. Setting up creativity. Now, in-camera creativity, I have explained to you and I have showed you how I done it. Now, next, the second point, how to the threefold is the setting up creativity. Equipment and settings. Now, basically, everyone knows what are the equipment that is needed and the settings. So I won't talk much on this, but I'll just explain to you the type of equipment that I used for this. Now, I use a camera. My camera is 90D, which was the new camera, which was out in 2019 by Canon. Why I bought it is because this has a lot of features in this. So this is the camera I use, the body, and this is the lens I use, 24-105, because this is a L lens and at f4. So if you zoom out even, the aperture remains at f4, and this is a good travel lens to have in your bag. And this is the tripod which I used. Now here I'm showing you a few of the screens, the camera screen where I use. Now for the interval timer, this is for the time lapse. Number of shots, 10 per shot, interval 10 seconds. So this is one of the for the time lapse. Then for the multiple exposure, now multiple exposure, I used 2 exposures in this, and at one shot only. Now here you have a thing here called the select image for multiple exposure. If you're having your picture in your memory card, you can select this, and then on the live screen you can compose and take the second picture. So this is the screen for multiple exposure. Then this is for the movie, for the time lapses and for the what you call slow motions, high frame rate. So if you enable this, you get the high frame rates. So this I'm sure this is all the same in other cameras as well, not on Canon, but the term software for creativity. Now I use PS Express. Adobe Photoshop Express is a free image editing application. The app is available on iOS, Android, and Windows phones and tablets. Now, when I'm doing a lot of traveling, I don't have access to a PC. So I have this software in my phone and in my tab. This is a Photoshop Express, and this is a free software, and you can get the pro version if you pay them a small fee. So if you take a picture on your camera, you can upload it into your mobile phone or a tab, and then using this, when you are seated for long hours on a flight or in a train or whatever, you can have your time doing this changes using Photoshop Express. So I will show you some of the editings and some creative things I have done on this Photoshop Express while I was traveling. Now this is in Ambalangoda Mask Museum. This mask was hanging on a wall, a white wall. And I did a multiple exposure on the face of the mask with some leaves. And it didn't come good, it didn't come very well because it went all over. Then using the software, I put a brick wall on the back. And this is how it came. So it gave a scary look, sort of feeling. Using this same software, I did this, So this is also, which I did on the same Adobe Photoshop Express. This is the picture, the portrait which I took recently in Vilpattu. And here again, using the software, I put some water droplets as a background, so that it will give a better look, like, it's a rainy day or whatever. Then this one is also which I took in Vilpattu, but this leopard, the background was very clear and bright, but I had to put some thorn bushes and all that around the layer to look as if he came out of the jungle. So this is again using that ND software while traveling. So that's about the software. Then that finishes my presentation and conclusion. So I would like to see you all doing this using my techniques, the techniques that I already discussed, and like to see more colorful pictures coming out. And hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you very much. I want to thank Sam, Shamali, and also Naomi for all helping me through this. And let's go to the next step of questions. Thank you very much.